On July 19th, 1977, the world teacher, the Christ Maitreya, head of the spiritual hierarchy, emerged from his ancient retreat and is now in the modern world. With his disciples, the masters of the wisdom, he will inaugurate the new age of synthesis and brotherhood.
Good morning and welcome to our World Teacher programme on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM, presented by Teresa and David on behalf of Share International New Zealand.
We start today with an article titled Unity and Diversity, as given through Benjamin Creme by his master. It featured in the May 2006 edition of Share International magazine and begins:
Throughout the centuries, men have adopted many different forms of government, ranging from the most despotic to the most egalitarian. Today, most countries have opted for a democratic form, that is, one elected by popular vote for one or other political party.
It is assumed that the voting system used is fair, honest and free from malpractice and fraud. Unfortunately, as recent history shows, this is often not the case, even in those countries which lay great stress on the probity of their election process. Deception and duplicity abound. Men and factions are brought to power by chicanery and guile. Most authoritarian are those one-party states where decisions are made by a committee of strong men, backed by the army and police. The people have little say in the laws which rule them, and often, as yet, do not feel the need to claim such rights.
Some countries are in the grip of cruel despots, hungry for power and the wealth which comes with it. Some are ruled by deluded zealots, sure that they and their followers are in the hands of God and are carrying out his plans. Others are struggling to help their people out of poverty and pain and to fend off the demands of their wealthy neighbours. Still others are fighting for their independence or are engulfed in chaos and civil war. Men must take to heart the lesson from this evidence. Many are the ways of organising the needs of different peoples.
Greater tolerance, therefore, is necessary in the approach to this vital matter. The energies of the rays governing the nations are different and require different structures in which to express their qualities. It is not the evolutionary plan that one form of government, democratic or otherwise, should prevail. The needs of men are more real and more important than ideologies. Tolerance of difference unites, while ideologies divide.
When Maitreya speaks openly, therefore, he will show that unity in diversity is the key to future harmony, that all the nations have a destiny, unique and sacred. He will point the way to achieve this blessed state and encourage men to open their hearts to a wiser understanding of the plan. Under Maitreya's guidance, men will come to appreciate and value the richness of the achievements of themselves and others. The urge to compete and to dominate will gradually subside, and a new chapter will open for men in brotherhood and peace. Thus will it be.
The following comments by Benjamin Creme were sourced from the 2007 and 2008 Transmission Meditation Conferences, and from Creme's book, Maitreya's Mission, Volume 1.
With unity in diversity, the diverse groups and points of view are not fragments of the whole, they are part of the whole. The whole is the outcome of their coming together, and that gives form. The unity comes out of the diversity, not the other way around. You do not have the unity and then the diversity. You have diversity and then a growing unity by being able to overcome differences, to aim at a unified approach, a unified thought pattern. You attain a degree of group consciousness. That creates a form which we call unity.
Everyone is longing for unity. Everyone is driving themselves towards unity. That is why people join groups, why they join political parties. They are looking for like-minded people with whom they can become unified. The aim of all life is to become unified. In the age of Aquarius, this coming age, you will see this manifested through the energy of synthesis. It will blend humanity together into a veritable synthesis, a real unity.
Every nation, every people within the nation, with their diverse and different points of view, their different sense of the meaning and purpose of life, will give individual expression to that purpose. In this way, a huge tapestry is formed of all the ideas and creativity of all the different nations to bring this huge panoply of qualities into one great unity. This unity is in the mind of the Logos, and we are carrying out his plan, whether consciously or not.
It happens because it is planned. It is the nature of the plan of the Logos to have the greatest definition of the individuality of the different nations, each one expressing its own unique quality that is instantly recognizable and different from all others. But eventually all will become part of a fused and blended whole. It is a fusion and blending of difference, not a fusion of the same. The plan is that each nation will carry out its own destiny, and a unity will evolve out of all that diversity. If you have a garden and every flower is white, it is a nice garden but rather boring. But a garden where you feel that all the colours are presenting themselves and is so arranged that it beautifully leads from one part to another, it's a real garden, uplifting and refreshing.
Humanity will come into the total understanding that we are one group called humanity, that there is nothing separate in the whole of cosmos, that everything relates to everything else, that the laws that connect humanity are the laws built out of the non-existence of cleavage of any kind throughout cosmos. We will grow with the impact of the energies of synthesis, streaming to us from Aquarius into this sense of being fused and blended together.
That is the essence of the energies of Aquarius. They only work through the group. The energies do not work through individuals. Individuality will not disappear, but will be placed at the service of the group. People today are only too willing to demonstrate their individuality. That is why they can be so destructive, because that individuality is often in the hands of people in positions of power, but who are not evolved enough to handle that power. That so cherished individuality of which we are rightly proud must be put at the service of the group.
It is about bringing unity, synthesis, into the greatest number of individual parts. It is not to obliterate individuality. It is not to get rid of the parts, the differences. On the contrary, it is to synthesize into a total unity the greatest number of different individual parts. It is unity in diversity. That should be the slogan for all future work. Unity with the maximum diversity is the aim of all those ready and willing to work in line with the new age of Aquarius.
In this coming time, we shall have to make a shift in consciousness to include every aspect of our being in our definition of spiritual. All our structures must be based on the inner oneness of humanity and reflect that reality. As souls, we are one. We have to create political, economic and social systems which allow that inner divinity to express itself.
We have built systems which are based on the wrong principles: competition, division, separation and inequality, all in direct opposition to the inner reality. The inner reality is man's oneness, a shared divine nature which is potential in every single human being, and which needs the correct outer forms to allow the inner radiance to be expressed. Now we'll play an extract from Maitreya's message number 37 as given through Benjamin Creme.
My mission goes well. My heart fills with joy at the prospect of my renewed contact with my brothers. All who love and serve their brothers, I think of in this way. My immediate plan is to reveal myself stage by stage in a certain fashion, and broadening my field of work speak for all men. Soon I shall be among you in a way unmistakable to your prepared hearts. By this means will you know me, by my light which shines through you, awakening you to service and love. By this means will you know me, by my call for justice and reason. By this means shall you know me, by my work among your brothers, those who need my help. My appeal shall sound forth. Save the world. Help those who suffer and die in need. My call shall resound. Correct the mistakes of the past. and renew the spirit of man. Make way for love in your hearts and see God. Thus shall I speak, my friends, and thus will you know me.
Our final article is sourced from the July-August 2000 double issue of Share International magazine. It's by Swami Nirliptananda, a senior Swami in one of the temples of the Asian community in London, deeply acquainted with the teachings of Maitreya.
In this article, he comments on the Eastern and, in particular, Indian point of view of tolerance and brotherhood, uniting East and West in the common desire for peace. He says, "We have to share our visions and resources, then the world will become free from poverty, fear and conflict." He starts by saying,
"Unity and peace holds us together. In spite of the diversity that is so obvious, it is in the pursuit of peace that we are united. These two are the basis of our diverse culture, the culture that accepts unity in diversity and not uniformity. It is very important that we understand this, because only by accepting diversity in our approach to the ultimate do we find the spirit of freedom, not by following the path of uniformity. This has been proven by history."
Freedom is essential in order to discover the truth. That is why the Indic religions are permeated with a liberal spirit, a liberal attitude. In the present-day world, which some describe as a little global village, the alternative to this is conflict, self-destruction. We who belong to this tolerant tradition have an important role to play, which we can only do effectively if we are united. The value of tolerance will be recognized only when it is supported with the power of unity.
The Om sound signifies the very beginning of our cosmos. As we all know, the cosmos was created by the Big Bang, as the scientists describe it. But many thousands of years before them, our rishis also said that it was from the sound Om that this universe came into existence. Om became very central to a culture and civilization that contributed tremendously to civilizing mankind throughout the world.
It is still used as vibrantly as it was when the rishis first realized its connection with all creation. It is time that we restate its importance when our very existence is threatened as a result of alienation from our divine source. Without this knowledge of a common source, and when we forget the oneness of creation, everyone thinks that only he has the right to exist. The world becomes more and more diversified, and nations threaten one another with little care about the consequences.
As a result, man has developed ways and means to threaten, dominate, torture or destroy others. This egocentric attitude over the years has led nations to pile up vast weapons of destruction, while on the other hand there is poverty, illiteracy, disease and starvation. The brotherhood of man has been a slogan used conveniently by particular groups of people who believe that those who do not belong to their group are damned. Therefore they had a fundamental right and a duty to convert them.
This divisive attitude has been one of the basic causes of wars and suffering in the world. The Eastern philosophy of life, with its inclusive flair and liberal attitude, has an important role to play in order to bring man back to his senses. That is why it is important that we become united, to focus on the values that are so essential to create a tolerant attitude and the spirit of understanding that dominated our civilization for so many millennia. Only when we are united will these values be taken seriously.
Never before was Om thought to be so significant that it should be used as a means to bring mankind together. All the religions that originate in India, in general, have a great reverence for Om. In most cases, it is central to their whole belief system and philosophy on life. It is that which is not only creative but sustaining as well. It is so ingrained and has become so much a part of our personality and central to our very existence that, by repeating it, an integrating process and transformation takes place that removes all stress and corrects all disorientation.
Dharma also is a common term that we use to denote, in an imperfect way, what is known as religion in the West. Basically, Dharma is that which regulates human behavior and attitude. In this respect, many different codes of conduct are coined to guide them in their ways of life. It is not a set of beliefs, but principles to be followed, so that there is no encroachment on the freedoms of others.
The idea of karma and reincarnation are peculiar only to these religions, and from these are derived our social philosophy and family values. They shape our attitudes to life because it is implied that we are responsible beings and should behave and act discreetly. The emphasis has to be on the collective approach to achieve the common goals of life.
We have to share our visions and resources. Then the world will become free from poverty, fear, and conflict. We all want peace. We all want to live without fear. We pray for this every day. Let us also work together. Let us be united. Then by the grace of God we will achieve this. Unity is more powerful than the barrel of a gun.
Hindu, Buddhist, Jain and Sikh have a common heritage, a divine stream as it were, flowing from the unknown to the known, with its tributaries that are nourished from the same source. The divine life itself dominates their whole outlook, not just faith in the divine. In their long history, faith seems to have been transformed into a living experience. It is this experience that nurtures us and makes our life part and parcel of the divine. In it we find a sense of unity, peace, fearlessness and bliss.
This experience blossoms into a particular attitude based on mutual acceptance, trust, tolerance, non-violence, forbearance and hospitality. These are reflected as common family values, such as respect for the teacher, parents and the elderly, a loving and caring attitude for the young, and the extension of these to those who are not so closely related. It is this spirit that helps us to fit easily into any environment without creating conflict and losing our identity. Our concept of the Atma within all things makes the whole world an extended family, not only of man, but of all creatures.
The sages of the East discovered that selfish desires are the basic cause of man's problems. This is the basis of greed, malice, hate, and conflict. Only by experiencing the oneness of life will these negative and destructive tendencies disappear. When the mind rests in unity, says Lord Krishna, then peace is experienced, and in peace all sufferings are destroyed.
When we look at the exploitation of nature and the diverse effects this has on the weather and other conditions, the pollution of our world that is affecting all life, the wanton cruelty and destruction, the sense of insecurity and fear, the stress that is sapping our vitality, only then can we understand how badly our world is in need of the ancient values that have sustained us for so many millennia.
In the East, there is a sense of respect and sacredness for people and animate and inanimate things. These have been guiding us in our behaviour and attitudes. In the West, these attitudes are disappearing. Life is becoming more profane, secular and sensuous.
Some young people in the West are aware of the negative impact these values of our modern civilization are having on their lives and are looking for alternatives, but most young people have yet to realize how dangerous they are. The leaders in particular have an important role to play in shaping the destiny of our societies. We have been thinking in isolation for too long. It is time now to reassess our position and take positive decisions to make our world more humane, more tolerant, with respect for nature, life and property. That concludes the article by Swami Naliptananda.
And that's our program for today. If you have any questions or would like to know more about the world teacher, Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, please call us on 0636461001 or visit the website share-international.org, where you'll find more information on the various aspects of the emergence.
To inquire about Share International magazine subscriptions, books by Benjamin Creme or our monthly free of charge newsletter, which contains extracts from the current Share International magazine, the number is 04234 1133, or write to P.O. Box 9576 Wellington.
Thank you for listening to us on Wellington's Access Radio 106.1 FM. And please tune in to our next World Teacher program on Saturday the 17th of February at the usual time of 10 a.m.
You can listen again to this program and previous ones by visiting our website at share-international-nz.info and click on the radio tab.